What's up, everybody? Jake Blickenstaff here, and I'm excited, man. Today we are up at 92.1 WLHR, Lake Hartwell Radio. We're going to talk to one of the account executives that handles like all the advertising and stuff for the radio station, along with Porkchop, the local on-air DJ, and really just learn a little bit more about kind of behind the scenes of what goes on in radio life, and if you do own a business, potentially what you can do if you're missing out on catching up on some radio advertising options. So let's go check it out and see what they got to say. What's up, everybody? Jake Blickenstaff back with the Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast. I'm pretty excited today. Here with Porkchop and Mr. Greg from 92.1 WLHR Lake Hartwell Radio. I always like having unique individuals and businesses on the show, because it gives other individuals that they know that kind of business or organization exists, but they might not have any experience or any exposure as to kind of what it's about. So that's really what I want to kind of highlight today. Porkchop, if you could, just give me a little bit of background on like who you are, what you do, how you kind of got into the radio business, and like what that's evolved into today.
I started, I've always been interested in radio. But that was not what my main goal was when I went to college. I was going to be a history teacher. That's what I wanted to be, and I got kind of burned out after about the first year in college. And I said, I'm going to not take a semester off. I was always afraid. I talked to some folks that had done that and never went back. Mm-hmm. So I'll just take a break from what I was concentrating on, and decided to do something fun. I just looked in the college catalog at Tri-County Tech over in Pendleton, South Carolina, and saw radio and television. I said, I'll take a semester of those classes. That would probably be, that's a big change from what I was doing, and I fell in love with it. And at the end of my, right before the end of my graduating my senior year, I ended up getting a job at WRIX in Anderson, South Carolina, and part-time. And then the day after I graduated, I went full-time. Things kind of worked around and went full-time, and was over there from 1998 to 2013. Met my wife over there. She was actually taking my job when I was taking the full-time job. I had to train her, and things kind of worked out there. And then in 2013, we came to Lake Hartwell Radio, and I really enjoyed it over here. It is such it's a really good atmosphere in the communities around here. Mm-hmm. Very hometown. And I said this with due respect. When I came to Livonia, I'd been through Livonia, but I never had stopped. It reminded me, and this is a positive thing, reminded me of Mayberry. Everybody was so friendly. Everybody was so nice. When I went into, they didn't know who I was. I had not got on the air yet. So that just kind of gave me a good feeling. But yeah, I got into that, and have been just enjoying it ever since.
That's awesome. And how long have you been here at Lake Hartwell Radio?
It'll be 11 years coming up in June 3rd. So over 10 years.
Well, very cool. So with radio, what does your guys' exposure look as far as like how far does your reach go from the different stations that are here?
Well, WLHR is the 92.1 country station, and we can reach Hart. We can reach into South Carolina, Hart County, Stevens County, Franklin County, Madison County, into Banks, down into the Athens area, and it starts to phase out, and then phase out and phase in, doing more of the south area. But primarily the Tri-County area is what we're really popular in. As well as 95.3, which is the oldie station. So we've got two radio stations here, and both of them don't compete with each other, which is great. So one's strictly country and one's strictly the oldies, 60s and 70s type of music. So we've got basically the same coverage area as we go through that. And 95.3 is very new because it's not quite 2 years old. And we're just now trying to get out there and let people. We're getting a lot of good feedback from that station. People do like the oldies, and that's the competition is some of the country boys in their pickup trucks versus the oldies people in their pickup trucks. So it gets going from that standpoint.
I think the oldies moniker for a radio station is always funny, because you have the younger generations that starts to hear their music on the oldie station. They're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So what is with your guys' involvement or like kind of being central to Lake Hartwell area? Do you guys have any community involvement with different things that are going on?
Yeah, we do. I know that even though WEGG is only about 2 years old, there's a lot of activities that Greg has been involved in, going down and really getting our name out there, so to speak, is the main point right now. Being a young station, WLHR has been on the air a lot longer, and we show up at community events. And of course, before the events, we publicize these different events. We've got a community calendar, not only on the air, but also on our website, so people can know what's going on. They send in their events that are happening, and and I'm in charge of that as far as getting that information out. I kind of pride myself on as soon as I can, when somebody sends something in, I try to get it on our website and then put it in a rotation to mention on the air. So, and I think that's what radio is all about, not just playing great music and being entertained, but also getting information out. And on WLHR, we have MJ Nizer does our newscast. We have local news 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. And even things you don't think about, because we don't have a daily newspaper. I know newspapers are kind of going down a little bit across the nation. We have things like that may seem old-fashioned, but in a local community that doesn't have a local print newspaper, every day, things like the obituary column, the weather forecast, everything. It's really a community-oriented effort with not only WLHR, WEGG also has a community calendar, but all the stations that are under the umbrella of Georgia Carolina Radiocasting. So it's really the main focus is being involved in our local communities. So.
That's awesome. I know that when I was up here, I had the opportunity to see you while you were on air, and one of the segments that I saw, was it the swap shop?
Swap shop. That's another thing. People can list things that they have for sale. Maybe they're cleaning their attic, garage, closet out. And I've talked to some folks who are not from the area, and you get kind of a mixed reactions. When they first hear it, they say, well, that's really a little bit old-fashioned. But once they listen to it, they start to make it a point to listen every day and actually start participating in it. So it definitely has a definite way of connecting with the local folks, and it just gives them another opportunity to participate. It's basically a service that we offer. It's no charge for folks to call in or list items. It's not for businesses. It's just for individuals. So that's another opportunity that we have to give back to the community.
It's kind of like the radio version of Facebook Marketplace.
It is.
People that
absolutely.
don't want to be on social media or that aren't on social media.
Absolutely.
So I think that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Are there any other segments that you guys would want to highlight potentially that you do kind of between the two stations as far as just getting different exposure?
One thing that I enjoy doing on Wednesdays, and this is just for the entertainment value, I'm a music nerd. I absolutely love music, and even if I were not on the radio, I would be checking out new music, trying to find the next big songwriter or artist. And so I have a segment on Wednesdays called Porkchop's Catch of the Week, and it's the reason we call it that is because they're keepers. They're not one you want to throw back in the lake. And I've been doing that now. I went back and looked since 2014. I started doing that right after I came here, about a year after. Started doing this, and I do it every Wednesday. And so I enjoy doing that. And I also have a bluegrass show on Saturday mornings from 9 until 10. I play in a bluegrass band.
Okay.
Playing in a bluegrass band for about 20 years too. That's the name of the group's Tugalo Holler. And so I get an hour to play another type. I like all types of music, but getting to play a specific genre that's almost a niche kind of thing. And we have a lot of fans here in the area that like that style. So those two things are kind of important to me to be able to do that. And we've got a good following on that.
That's good stuff. And then now you brought up kind of how newspaper advertising is like slowly starting to trend down, or has been trending down over a while. That makes me want to kind of jump over into the advertising that you guys offer. Or do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Sure. We've got, because 92.1 is an established radio station, we have a different size component that we utilize as far as charging is concerned. So we have specials that we can do that. We can also do remote locations, as long as Porkchop is willing to do it. But we do offer a remote location. So if somebody's got a grand sell, or they're trying to do something related to their business, and they're doing a car dealership, for argument's sake, has got a special going on, and they're going to do some hot dogs and balloons and all that sort of thing, we can be on location talking about that for a couple of hours at a certain rate. And we offer that service because we can do remotes. Whereas on 95.3, we're not set up for remotes just yet. But it's going to come. And the other thing is that we do on 92.1 is we also offer different advertising for different events. So we cover basketball games that are in the Franklin area and Hart area, as well as football, some of the high school footballs that we do a lot of. Again, that's not being offered yet on 95.3. And part of the reason that we don't offer that on 95.3 is it's still a very new station, and we've got to get more people on board as far as staff is concerned to be able to do some of those remote locations, be able to do basketball or football or any of those sports that are out there. But that's coming down the road. That's going to come because it's maturing as far as the radio station is concerned. And also because the radio station itself is new for 2 years, not quite 2 years old. We have some great rates that we can offer folks out there for buy one, get one free type of thing. So I won't discuss the dollars and cents, but if anybody's interested, they're more than happy to get in touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to give that information out as we go along.
Yeah, definitely. If any of you guys are watching this and you are interested, please reach out to Greg. His contact information is going to be somewhere around this video, so that way you guys can get specifics on pricing like he had mentioned. Now, to go a little bit deeper, for any business owners that are potentially interested in doing any advertising, what would that maybe look like as far as reach capability? Like how many do you have a rough idea of how many listeners are in the area?
Yeah, on WEGG, we have approximately 450,000 listeners, roughly. Now, that's not saying they listen to it every day, but the component is there, and that's from 18 on up. So that component is there. It's a little bit more, I think, on the 92.1 area, just a fraction more than that, because it reaches a lot into the South Carolina area. Whereas if I look at WEGG, it's more of the Tri-County arena, and we do reach into South Carolina, but again, because of frequencies, we do start losing it a little bit. Now, if I drive to South Carolina and I go through Anderson, I'll lose it. But if I go to Centerville in South Carolina, it comes in perfect. So Centerville's a little higher. That's probably why. But there's areas that you can pick it. And it's like us going into Athens, we'll start losing the signal just a little bit. And then it'll start to get sketchy. But then all of a sudden you hit into Athens proper, and all of a sudden you're getting it loud and clear. So again, the reach is out there. And we've got maps to show folks where our reach is and where we're going to lose it and for it. But if they're really trying to concentrate and do business within that triangle, within the Hart County, Franklin County, Stevens County, Madison County, Banks County arena, on down into Clark County, Oglethorpe, those areas, and even into Elberton arena, that's a perfect area for them to be advertising. So we've got a lot of folks that are starting to reach out and come into WEGG, as well as still continue on 92.1. So it's out there for folks.
Well, good. That's a good opportunity for anybody that is a business owner to really just kind of help grow that brand.
Correct.
Get just a little bit more visibility and a little bit of name recognition for whatever that business is that's there. I want to switch gears a little bit with everything that's going on as far as the industry changing, technology, streaming. What have you guys found, or what challenges have you had to overcome to stay relevant in like the radio space with being able to direct stream or everything else from an advertising perspective too?
Well, it's the industry. I was having a conversation with someone, I guess a couple months ago. This is nothing new, and when you talk about technology, radio or television, any kind of mass media, things change constantly. There was a big threat when folks were able to get 8 tracks. And people don't remember that, but when you talk to folks who are a little older, they say, well, they're not going to listen to the radio anymore because they can listen to their own music. that went over to cassette tapes, CDs, MP3 players, and the radio has survived through that. And I think you can't stay. You have to take the best of what's already working, and then accentuate that. And I think we've done that here. The things I mentioned earlier, the local news every day, those local elements that you can't get through an MP3 player, those things that are specific to the area you live in. If you want just to listen to mindless music and just be completely zoned out, we're not that. Either one of these stations are not that. You can listen and enjoy the music, but also when you hear the advertiser, it strikes a bell with you. Hey, I need, for example, something from a hardware store. I've got a project coming up. Well, you hear an ad for a hardware store. Guess what? That's going to stick in your brain. It serves the advertiser. It serves the person listening to it, and of course helps us as a business. But I think those little local elements, that we've accentuated those, because you can't get those just listening to your phone now, not even an MP3 player, your phone, and just listening to a playlist. You're not going to get local news. You're not going to get local information about events coming up. So I think that we've done a really good job of weathering those storms, because, and like I said, it's nothing new. And we've got a lot of folks who have been in this business a long time involved with our companies and all the different stations that are involved, and they kind of direct us to keep pushing forward and hold up what's working. So
yeah, I think having that stronger local connection, it really just ties it in, kind of cements your position of wherever you're at. I know that you guys have a strong relationship with like the Humane Society. That's one of the ads that you run. You want to talk about that a little bit? Sure.
We do what's called a pet sponsorship with the Madison County, Oglethorpe County Pet Shelter. I'm probably animal shelter. I'm not going to say this right, but the nice thing about it is these folks on a weekly basis will send us a picture of the latest pet that they've got there, and we'll sponsor it, and we do look for sponsors for that. It's a 6-month commitment. We've just come out of a sponsorship with one of the local organizations there, and we're now looking for a new sponsor for it. But meanwhile, we keep this going every Friday, so it becomes a 95.3 WEGG sponsorship for this pet, and we'll also put it into the 95.3 Facebook side, so that people understand that if they're a Facebook fan, they can go to there and they can see a picture of the dog that's up for adoption, and listen to or look at other information as it relates to that sponsorship. And then we'll announce several times who's sponsoring it, and we'll run ads for that sponsor considerably through the month that they're sponsoring it for. We try and do it for a 6-month commitment because of the low rate that we've got on it. And then we specialize that. There's tags that occur during the sponsorship. There's advertising that'll go on through the week, so that folks are getting their money's worth when they do this kind of a sponsorship. And it's also something good to reach out to. Yeah. And the only person that's paying for it is whatever organization is wanting to sponsor it. It's not coming out of the animal shelter or anything of that nature. We're just doing this as a service.
And we have that also on 92.1, the Pet of the Week, also on Friday. Same situation he's talking about, and they feature a different pet, so it helps the shelter and to find a home for these animals. Now there have been times, because I've been here over 10 years, perhaps there's something that they're in need of, the shelter's in need of, and they will use that time to put the word out. Hey, we are overloaded with cats, dogs, whatever. We need adoptions, or we need more supplies. Mm-hmm. So it really works for them and the advertiser too, because they're with that announcement each week. But Pet of the Week is a great thing for. We have so many folks that have pets that listen every day. I would say the majority either have pets or have had pets, so they're familiar with the situation and the hardships that go along with trying to find a good home for these animals. tie the sponsorship in with it. It's a win-win for everybody that's involved on both of the stations.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of the Humane Society and pet shelters. They do they do great work, hands down.
They do. I mean, there's a lot of organizations also that are out there that are private firms, corporations out there that do other things. Like there's an air conditioning company in Athens that did a sponsorship, not through us, but on their own, just trying to get dog food. So every dog or cat food, so every customer that they would go to, they would be donated a bag of dog food or cat food, and then this organization would then give that to the shelter. So without any advertising or anything like that, but they try to do it on their own. Mm-hmm. So we made them aware. We said, look, next time you go to do something like this, let us know. We have a free community calendar out here that we can put it. It's going to be on a rotation basis, so you're not going to hear it every half hour or so, but it's going to be on there so that people can be aware that you're doing something for no price. And that this is free to the organization, it's free to the customers out there, and free to the shelter that they're doing this with. So there are folks out there that do things like this, and we want to be aware of it and make them aware that there's a community calendar out there that they can advertise through very quickly. We'll script it out for them if necessary. And when we do scripts for folks that are doing advertising, we don't charge for it. Mm-hmm. And we don't charge for any of the voiceovers that we do. So it's either, one of our talents that we've got that can do it. And then again, this is all included in the prices that we have out there. But getting back to the shelters, it's a very important thing that we do as an organization, as a radio organization.
Yeah, I can attest the advertising that you guys do is phenomenal. I'm currently running some with you guys. So the services that you provide have been extremely helpful, and they're definitely well worth the investment, in my opinion. So wrapping things up, is there any valuable nuggets that you guys have, either from a radio perspective or a business perspective? I always like to try to bring value to my audience from anybody that's been in the industry for a while that might cross over to other individuals, if they could just pick up one little thing that might be able to help them out.
Value is a very important aspect when you're talking to individuals, mm-hmm. especially individual organizations. You try and find out from them what is it that they want to accomplish. If they're hoping that the phone's going to ring every 5 minutes when they go to advertise, that's not realistic. And the thing that I like to use a lot too is that when folks advertise, whether it be flyers or newspaper articles or anything of that nature, what you're really doing is just getting your name out there and getting what it is that you do out there. So if you pick on real estate, for argument's sake, very competitive business out there, just like the radio industry is very competitive. What you're wanting to do is get the name out there, so when people think about selling or buying, first thing they want to hear is that real estate company that's being advertised. They're going to remember that, and that's what causes it. Because if you ask a person that calls in, how did you hear about us? My wife told me, or my husband told me. How did they hear about it? I don't know. The greatest case that I come across is people that do that. It's like you walk up to a movie theater and you go to buy your movie theater ticket, and the person says, well, how did you hear about the movie? And you say, oh, my wife did it, but she's gone to the bathroom, So there's no way of knowing how they heard about it. Okay, people don't remember how they heard about it. So the point is, the value is getting the name out there of their business, and hopefully people hear it over and over in a repetitive nature, like reading the newspaper. A lot of people don't read newspapers anymore. They get flyers. Sometimes they get flyers on their windshield, and they'll take them and usually just throw them away. So when an organization comes to us and wants to get advertising going, I'm very cautious with them and say, the phone's not going to ring right away. Yeah. Although a lot of them think that's what they should be happening. And sometimes it could take 3-4 months before they get a call from that ad that related to what they might be doing.
Yeah, I relate a lot of that to any advertising that anybody that within my real estate team that I train. It's like the message that you put out one time isn't enough, because that individual that hears it, for one, might not be ready to receive it. For two, they might not have a reason in their life for it to be like, oh, this is relevant. But if they hear it enough, something might change in their life or their existence to where it's like, oh, I've been hearing, oh, now I'm ready to do something about it. So it's really just tapping into what I call omnipresence, of just being that steady message that's there for whenever that individual is ready to receive it.
Right.
So I think radio advertising is a perfect opportunity for that.
Well, the repetition, getting your name out there is the main thing on the advertising end, but it also is important to remember the vehicle you use to get that out there. And I think that radio, especially local radio like we are, people trust the folks on the radio. We have I feel always have a certain responsibility to be truthful with, I don't do endorsements because, you start pitting folks against one another. But if someone were to ask me, hey, did you use this? Have you ever tried, heard them on your station? I can tell them I've tried it, I liked it, or whatever. There's a level of folks believing in whatever they're hearing on the station I'm on, or whoever's doing the disc jockey part of things. People trust the station, and if you have good advertisers that are looking to make that connection, the repetition works, but when they answer the phone or answer an email, when they meet someone face to face, if they have that same sort of rapport, create that rapport with the customer, I think that it's a good symbiotic relationship between radio, advertiser, and consumer. I think it really works that way. I always have. So like I said, don't have unrealistic expectations. You're almost, of course, you want business, but you're also creating a relationship with this person. Hopefully, that will last a very long time. Just like the radio does. They know where we're at. They make it a point to listen, and hopefully, that is the relationship the clients that we have as advertisers have with their clients. So,
from the real estate side of things, one of the taglines that we always use is we value relationships over transactions. And so from that, it gives us, as an advertiser, the ability to tap into the know, like, and trust that you guys already have with your listeners. And then so that way it gets conveyed in a cleaner message. So finishing it up, is there anything specifically that you guys are looking for outside of, just potential advertisers, or like any segments or anything coming up? Just anything you want to leave?
Well, one of the things I want to point out is that, take advantage of the community calendar. We'll do our best to get it on the air as quickly as possible, but don't be unrealistic. And if you've got a script that you want to send us, by all means, we'll look at it and make our comments back to say what is the best for what people are hearing. Same with if it's a business looking to advertise on a dollar component, then look at what is realistic, and we'll make points to that of what is better. Do we want to feature the website to contact you, or do we want to feature the telephone number? Does the telephone number come across correctly? And this is what we felt over time, that it's best for this particular industry to have the telephone number or have a website to get at. So when you're looking out there to do it, look at the community side for especially organizations that are doing something for not just themselves, but getting out to the community, and let us be part of that. And then look at you also for advertising on the dollar side. So it works both ways.
Well, good stuff. Is there any social media channels that if anybody did want to reach out to you guys or try to find you guys, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, you can go to Facebook or X, and the easiest way to do it, because trying to remember exactly what order everything's in, just go to the search engine for either of those and just type in Lake Hartwell Radio, and that will bring you up to 92.1 WLHR. And we constantly are putting things on there. I know during my show on X, I put the playlist up, what's coming up, so you can kind of see what songs are coming up, and you can also see on Facebook breaking news, weather information, like when we have bad winter storms or perhaps a severe thunderstorm warning. You not only get that on the air, we also put it immediately on social media, because a lot of folks are in different places. They might have to step away from the radio for just a second, but everybody's got a phone with them now, so they can get that information. There's fun stuff too that we put on there. I've got a News of the Weird segment I put on there every morning. There's our day in country music history, country music birthday. So there's entertainment too, but there's a lot of good information there. So just type in Lake Hartwell Radio. We're working on that since I know Greg mentioned earlier, WEGG is a young station. we're trying to develop that so when we roll that out, everything is ready to go for the same purpose of getting the information out, whether it be news, weather, sports, whatever. And so be looking for that down the road. With there is a Facebook page already for WEGG, and you can. What is that? Is it 95?
95.3 WEGG.
Yeah, 95.3 WEGG. And there is, but it's going to be more and more traffic as the station grows up from its toddler stages on up through to teenage years, hopefully here very, very soon. So yeah, check us out. Just type in 95.3 WEGG or Lake Hartwell Radio.
Well, awesome. You guys have heard it. Make sure to go give them a follow. If you haven't, go leave a comment that you heard about them on the podcast. But that's going to wrap us up for today. This has been another fantastic episode of the Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Hey, as we wrap up another episode of the Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast, I want to extend a big thank you to our remarkable guests, Porkchop, and also Greg Sanders with 92.1 WLHR Lake Hartwell Radio. You guys have a phenomenal bit of information to be able to provide to us, not only that has to do with what goes on within the radio market, but also from an advertising perspective of how that can be beneficial to any business. So thank you again. Now to all you property owners out there, whether you're considering buying, selling, leasing, commercial or residential real estate in the greater Athens, Atlanta, Northeast Georgia markets, or even the western upstate portion of South Carolina, remember that we're here to support you. Our dedicated team is ready to guide you through every step of your real estate journey. And our team's a powerhouse, featuring specialized commercial agents who excel in leasing and sales across diverse categories such as office, retail space, industrial properties, and multifamily residences. And on the residential side, our agents specialize in everything from traditional single-family homes, luxury estates, even the intricate world of REOs and short sales. And here's something exciting for all of the licensed agents out across the Southeast, covering South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. If you're seeking a supportive community of real estate professionals who can act as your mentors, advisors, coaches, and friends, please look no further. Here at VPR First Team, we provide exclusive one-on-one access to some of the most successful commercial and residential realtors and brokers in the field. So if you're looking to learn, grow, and thrive in your real estate career, or if you're just on the hunt for a new home, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to make your journey a smooth one. So thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast. If you've enjoyed the insights shared here today, remember to subscribe, leave a comment, leave us a review, and until next time, keep those dreams alive. We'll catch you on the next episode.